Welcome back to Game Plan Monday, friends. This week, we are going to slow things down a little bit, just a little bit, because sometimes the most powerful planning move that isn't doing more, it's remembering why you started in the first place. And this week, it's all about reconnecting with that particular why, not the polished Instagram. I'm going to show up with all the glitz and glam and hair done and all the things. The real one, the one that still matters when things are messy, slow, or maybe a little bit off track. It's very funny that this happens to be the topic that we're talking about this week, because just a couple of days ago in my Plan in Place membership group, we were talking about goals specifically and using a push, a pause, or a pivot towards our goals. And this ties in really well. So I'm going to give you the annotated version of that, the training that I gave to them, and talk a little bit about your why specifically. So every goal that we set should have two things attached to it: a why, so why you started. And then the other thing that people may not think about is a reason. Why are you willing to come back to it when everything's getting messy and gross and driving you crazy? Goals rarely go exactly as we planned. I am a planner coach and I still have that issue happen. They rarely go smoothly. When you're wanting something, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go exactly how you want it to go. And so it's going to be messy. And also your motivation is going to dip and it's going to fade, and you're going to want some kind of clarity to help bring you back to the beginning. Your why is what pulls you back when your motivation runs out. So, excuse me. There's a part of every goal that doesn't get talked about enough, and that is the messy middle. And this is what we talked about specifically in our membership group: the push, the pause, and the pivot is recognizing when you are in the middle of the trenches working on your goal and things are not going as planned because you are past the excitement, your results are slower than they want them to be, life is happening around you, and you're trying to figure out what the next step is going to be with your goals. You have three options. One is to keep pushing through. This is when you meet those roadblocks, those setbacks that you had not anticipated but are going to come up anyway. Do you push through? Yeah, you can absolutely push through. Lessen the amount of activity that you do and take a small step forward instead of trying to take huge leaps and bounds. The second part is pause. If you have things happening in your life right now that you have zero control over, maybe a pause, and not an absolute quit, but a pause for your goals will allow you to be able to restructure how you're going to push forward. And then the third one is pivot. And this one is so funny because every time I hear the word pivot, all I can see is Ross Geller standing in the hallway with the couch yelling pivot. And I'm sure that you guys can all relate from that Friends episode. But what it really means is recalculating your GPS. We all have a destination that we want to get to. We start here, we work through and try to get to the end result by creating a plan to get there. And sometimes when we are driving along, a tree will fall in our way, or we have a mudslide, and we have to recalculate a new direction to get to our destination. And that's exactly what a pivot is when it comes to your goals, and why it's so important that you have both a why, a reason why you started, and a reason, something to come back to so that you can continue to move forward. So why, some of the things that you can think about are: why did you start? What problems were you trying to solve? What feelings were you chasing? What did you want more of? Did you want more time, more income, more confidence, more flexibility, more fulfillment? All of these things are answers to your why. Now, the next question is, why do you stay? This is your reason for coming back. What still matters about this particular goal? What would quitting actually cost you? If you didn't continue to move forward with your goal, what would it cost you? And who benefits when you keep going? Hopefully it's you, because you're setting the goal for you, but does it benefit other people, your family members, your kiddos, your significant other? Whatever that might be, your answers don't necessarily have to be the perfect answer, because there isn't one anyway. They just have to be honest to who you are and what you are trying to accomplish. So I want to touch very briefly on my specific whys and reasonings for moving forward with what I've been working on for my goals. I have 4 goals specifically that I'm working on. One is presenting the 75 plan challenge to you guys, because I think it's so important that people understand the dynamics of utilizing a planner in their life. This is important, as especially for me, as I am dealing with perimenopause and forget things. I know that there are other women in this same boat that are experiencing the same challenges that I'm experiencing and trying to remember what I'm doing from day to day. And that's why I think it's so important to utilize this 5-step system that I've created with the 75 plan challenge, which is dump it, plan it, do it, track it, and reflect it. And it is not linear, you guys. Getting from point A to point E, A, B, C, D, E, A to E, is not going one step over the next to get to the end result. It is a constant loop. You may not start at A every day. You may not do a brain dump every day, but you might be working a plan and you might be tracking it, but you haven't necessarily had to do it. And then once you do it, you reflect it. It is constantly a loop between those 5 topics and those 5 prompts involved with the 75 plan challenge. And for me, this is day number 19 that we are working on, and I have been having my own roadblocks. Things have been coming up, and I've tried to continue to stay consistent with my planning even through these 19 days and all the things that I've had going on in my personal life in the first 3 weeks of 2026, because I feel that it's important for others to be able to know that there is somebody out there who's cheering them on in this particular challenge, whatever that might look like for you. The second goal is developing a workshop around the 75 plan challenge for my business owners. This will be something that will be coming later in March. I've been working on a success path and product ladder and putting together all the pieces, because I really feel in my heart that this is something that all people who are in business need to have. And that is a way to continually feel like you're going through those loops so that you can feel planned and be ready to execute the things that you want to do for your goals for your business. The third and fourth goals that I have are both personal. The third one is a weight loss journey, and I'm just adding one small thing each time. One of the things that I'm working on tracking this 12 weeks is how much protein I'm getting, and really I'm not making a whole lot of changes. This is really just a process of tracking, writing ideas, finding recipes, things that are easy for me to maintain, because I don't want it to be overwhelmed by all of the things. But it is definitely a struggle. I had some things happen a couple weeks ago where I was not eating well and not taking care of myself, and so I'm back at square one and doing a brain dump and creating a plan. But that does not mean that I have totally quit the plan, right? It just means that right now I'm in a pivot mode. What does that look like? What does that pivot mode mean to get from point A to point B in my destination and the journey that goes along the way? My fourth one is financial based. One of the books that the membership group read or is reading right now is My Money, My Way by Kumiko Love. And that's just trying to get finances going and understand those a little bit better, trying to come up with a system that will work for me so that I will not spend so much money on stupid stuff, because that's what happens. And trying to rein in some debt. I have hospital bill that I'm working on and a couple of other things that I'm trying to get paid off. And so it is a constant give and take going through those 5 phases, but also pushing through, pausing where I need to, and then making pivots where I have to. So a couple weeks ago, I was pausing with my health journey because there's some things going on, and I'm pivoting, getting back into it. And that's what it really means when we are talking about having your why and knowing what it is that's trying to get you to move forward. Why are you going back to it? I've talked a little bit about why 75 Plan Challenge and the workshop are so dear to me, and especially sharing those things with all of you, because I think they're super important in what you need for a business is to be able to execute the plans and goals that you set for yourself, not just make them and hope that they come true. And then the other two, my whys, I'm not in the best health right now. I need to be better and take care of myself a little bit better. And so that's definitely something we're working on. And of course, obviously the financial health as well. Definitely all things that people need to be thinking about, business wise, personal wise, all of the things. So those are definitely very difficult sometimes. My why doesn't make the work easier at all, but it makes it worth coming back to over and over again when I have those struggles. So some things that you can do in your own planner is create a dedicated page. One of the things that you can incorporate is a blank or a dot grid insert in your planner, and you can utilize that as a way to just have a why page so that you can go back and look at it. You can also create this as a quick little tip-in. Just take a piece of dot grid or even construction paper or deco paper and write your why on there and tip that into your planner or journal so that you can look back at it quite often. You can also write your why at the top of your weekly insert. Some of the things that help me to be able to know what I have going on is to write the same thing down many times. You will see in my journal, if you watch along how that setup goes, is I write my word of the year every single week, multiple times, because I want that to be what I use to focus. And then you can also put your why through a filter when you're deciding what to work on next. Is your why helping you to choose your goals? It's not being overwhelming. It's not asking what you should do next. It's asking what supports who you are and what you stand for right now as you're getting ready to set your goals. So if you're in a position where things are feeling off right now, you don't need to go out and set a new goal. You might just need to reconnect to the reason why you chose the one that you started with 19 days ago, because we are still in January. There is still time for you to just go back and to reconnect to what you had originally planned for your goal. You're allowed to want something and you're allowed to struggle on the way to it. It's not going to be easy, but it will definitely be worth it. And just having to push, pause, or pivot, it doesn't disqualify you from reaching your goals. It just takes 5 minutes for you to write your why, keep it close. You might need it. You might need to go back and reflect on it for not for when things are easy, but for when things are hard, because they will be hard. That's just the way that goal setting and goal execution works. It is just an opportunity for you to go through the steps over and over and over again repeatedly until you get where you want to go. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. Hopefully you are all working on push, pause, or pivot with your goals. You are joining us in the 75 Plan Challenge. I'm having a lot of fun. Day 19, we are working on today, and I am still sticking with it, still showing up for you guys. I hope you are showing up for you as well. Have a fantastic day, friends, and I'll see you all soon.